Hey guys, so long time no see. Seems like every time I do one of these videos I'm apologizing about how long it's been since my last video, but yeah, life has been really crazy. I've been working 6 days a week, and plus I was in the middle of yet another reading slump for almost the entire month of September, so yeah. Anyway, it's been about a month since I did one of these videos, and I think I've got somewhere around like 10 books I wanted to mention, so I apologize in advance if this book is really long, if this video is really long. Also, a couple things I wanted to mention. Number one, I do believe everything that I read since last time was an adult book. I've kind of been staying away from YA. I think I OD'd on YA, so I've been kind of trying to branch out and read different things. And also, since I read some of these books like weeks ago, I'm having trouble remembering the names of some of these characters, so I apologize. Anyway, first off, the first book I wanted to talk about is On Dublin Street by Samantha Young. It's about this young American girl who loses her family and inherits some money, and she decides she wants to try and start over by moving to Scotland and going to school. She moves into this house with this girl who just so happens to have this insanely rich, insanely attractive brother who, of course, the young American girl falls madly in love with. I think I'm the only person in the entire country who read this book and didn't like it. Everybody else seems to have given it 5-star ratings. I think I gave it a 2. I just do not understand what the appeal is for this book, honestly. And you will notice a theme with some of the books that I read over the last month. Yeah. Anyway, I didn't like the characters. I think what it might be is that I've possibly read too many books about these tortured female characters who find these super alpha dog guys that are just desperate to take care of them. I'm tired of reading about these people. Like I said, I didn't like the characters. The female lead, which I think has a lot to do with the fact that I don't really remember her name, was very snotty, and I didn't like her. The guy, his name is Braden. I didn't like him much better either, but yeah. So unfortunately, I can't recommend it, but what the hell do I know? Everybody else loved it, so whatever. Okay, the next book is Envy by J.R. Ward. This is the third book in her Fallen Angel series. I have a love-hate relationship with this series. The first book I absolutely loved. That was called Covet. And the second book, which is called Crave, I hated. It's probably one of my least favorite books that I've read all year. This one sort of falls somewhere in the middle. The main theme of this entire series is this fallen angel character named Jim Heron, who is in a battle with a demon to save the souls of 7 people. And as we start the third book, they are tied one to one. And this book is about a police detective named Thomas Del Vecchio, or Vec as he's called, and he happens to be the son of a renowned, or infamous, I shouldn't say renowned, an infamous serial killer. And he wakes up from this like stupor he's in. He had blacked out, and he's standing over the body of this man who's accused of killing all these women, and this body is like torn to shreds, and he has no memory of whether or not he is responsible for killing the guy. But he thinks he is, because he keeps waiting to turn into his father, and he's got a lot of daddy issues. Amazingly enough, I actually ended up liking his character quite a bit. Yeah, Jim is the reason that I keep reading these books. He's just a very interesting character to me, and they didn't spend nearly enough time with him, in my opinion. But I still gave it 3 stars. Okay, I also read Existence by Abby Glines. This book was another weird one for me. Actually, this was a YA book. I take that back. I take my previous statement that I haven't read any YA books lately back. Yeah, it's about this girl who's in high school who can see dead people. She can see dead people that she calls spirits, but they've never been able to communicate with her until one day she's in school and she sees a spirit and he talks to her. And yeah, his name is Dank. Dank. What the hell kind of a name is Dank? Yeah, anyway, it turns out he's death, and he happens to be young and hot and a musician, and I guess being death is just a side gig for him. But yeah, and then there's this whole thing where she starts going out with the quarterback from the football team, and his name is Leif, and he's got a whole weird sort of murky past, and the story is just very soap opera-ish for me, but I mean, it was okay. I managed to finish it. I am definitely not one of the people who absolutely just freaking adore this series. You know, it seems like people either hate it or just incredibly in love with it, kind of like Twilight. I was just, it was okay. Alright, next up was Unholy Ghosts by Stacia Kane. This is an urban fantasy, and it's the first book in the Downside series. The basic premise of this world is that 15 years ago, they had something called Haunting Week, in which all of these dead spirits came out and killed a good deal of the population. And after that happened, all of the churches of the world disbanded. And with the exception of one. They have one church, which is called the Church of the Truth. And the main character is this girl named Chess, and she is a witch, and she's a debunker. And what the debunker does is they go to these hauntings, and she tries to prove either that these people are actually haunted or it's a fake. And if it's proven that they're being haunted, they get money from the church. And if it is proven that they're faking it, Chess gets money, and that's how she supports herself. And one of the very dark aspects of this world is that Chess is the heroine of the book, but she also happens to be a full-fledged drug addict. And she spends a great deal of this book either looking for drugs or being high on drugs for me. So I went into this book with a lot of trepidation, but I have to tell you guys, I loved this book. It completely blew me away. Everything about it, the world building, the characters, the storyline, everything worked, and it was just so different and unique. And yeah, Chess, the main plot is that she is working for her drug dealer, investigating this old abandoned airport to find out if it's haunted or not, and she's sort of being pulled in two opposite directions. She's got this guy who works for her drug dealer, this guy named Terrible, and this other guy named Lex, who sort of runs this other crime family. And she's being, both sides want her to work for them, and she's kind of caught in the middle. And another aspect I have to mention is another thing that sort of was stacked up against this book for me liking it was that the people who work for the church, like Chess, are the more educated people in this society. The people who live in like the slum area, which is called Downside, they speak in this sort of very, very, very grammatically incorrect way. And stuff like that usually drives me up the wall. I usually can't stand it, and I can't tell you how many times I've given up on a book because of that kind of thing, but in this book, I actually thought it was kind of cool. Once I was able to sort of figure out what they were saying, it was kind of cool. I can't wait to read more books in the series because she's just a great author. So yeah, obviously I gave it 5 stars on Goodreads. So yeah. Okay, you guys remember when I said that I was really tired of reading books about these alpha dog males taking care of their tortured female heroines? Yeah, just kind of put that out of your mind for the next couple books, okay? Just forget I said that. Alright, so next up I read Naked by Rain Miller. This is actually a novella. It's only 115 pages, and it's about a guy named Ethan who he owns a security company in England, and he is hired by this guy to take care of his daughter, and he sees this picture of her, this photo that she did, and she's not really naked. It's the cover of the book is actually the picture that he supposedly saw. She's not really naked, but he sees it and he becomes obsessed with her, and they embark on this very tempestuous, sort of passionate relationship. And a lot of people have compared this book to 50 Shades of Grey. I don't really compare it to that at all, simply because it's very, 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 very well written, and the character of Ethan is just far and away a superior character than Christian Grey. He's much more vulnerable. He is much more open about his feelings. Right from the very beginning, he tells her exactly how he's feeling about her. And it's not just about sex with him, it's his, how he feels about her. And it's just incredibly great story for a 115-page novella. I mean, my ass sat down on the couch and did not move until I was done. That's how much I liked this book, and I can't wait for the second book to come out, which hopefully is supposed to come out by the end of the month. So we will see. Now, moving on. While we're still on that theme, the next book I read was Reflected in You by Sylvia Day. And this was the second book in the Crossfire trilogy. You guys already probably remember how much I love the first book, which is called Bare to You. It's one of my favorite books of the year. This book continues the story of Gideon and Eva, and yeah, it pretty much starts off right where Bare to You ended. They have this very sort of explosive relationship. They're both pretty obsessive people, and they're obsessed and addicted to each other. And because of that sort of aspect, there's much angst going on. This book, there were several times where I wanted to take my Kindle and smash it up against the wall because I just was so frustrated with these two people. There's so much going on. There's so many emotional trips up and down the roller coaster with this book. Not that I didn't like it, I did. It was so... I was so emotionally drained by the end of this book. It's ridiculous. Yeah, and I'm just hoping that it's a little less on the angst factor for the third book that comes out in December. I'm really hoping, because, yeah, I need a vacation after reading that book. Yeah, but I gave it 4 stars. It wasn't quite as good as Bare to You, just simply because of the overload of the angst. But yeah, just thinking about it now. Oh my god. But I'm a huge fan of Sylvia Day. She's such a brilliant author, so definitely recommend it. Like I said, not quite as good as Bare to You, but still a fantastic book.